I had a dream last night. I was at some type of hotel in Florida that doesn't exist. Or if it does exist, I've certainly never been there. Um, and some guy at the front counter offered me a condom, and I turned it down. Told him I wouldn't need it. Um, and then later at BBW, I don't think it really matters which BBW, so I'm just gonna leave out whatever. Well, you know what? It kind of does. It's BBW Kayla and the Big Brave Babe from TikTok. They've been hanging out together. So in my dream, this happens. In my dreams, this happens when my brain just uses pre-existing context. So for some reason, Kayla was dressed in Rachel from Ninja Gaiden's leather and lace uniform. I don't know why that was a thing, and I don't think they make leather like that anyways, but yeah. They approached me and we started talking. We go back to a room. I think it's my room, but I don't know. And then nothing comes of it. I take a scooter out and I go back to my old neighborhood, which is just down here. It's something I've been doing since I've been down here, is visiting my old neighborhood. And while I was visiting my old neighborhood, is just remembering my life as a child and all the good times and all the bad times and all the mixed things in between. First cat dying, my first dog, Y. He actually sat on me and nearly drowned me at TY Park when I was a kid. That was pretty traumatic. I don't know why I'm not terrified of water, but so I returned to the hotel, and she's like, I meet up with Kayla again. She starts telling me about how she just ate all this food and she's about to blow and all the in her and like I guess her and the Big Brave Babe were talking because they were kind of fucking seduce me. I'm pretty sure those girls aren't lesbians, but whatever. None of my business. They can be fat lesbians. There's no laws against it, I think. There might be in a couple years when the Christians take over, but, you know, for now there's no laws against being fat lesbians. Is lesbians a derogatory term? Because, you know what? So I came back, and basically she wanted to have sex, and I told her I don't have a condom. And there was this kind of look of rejection on her face, and I don't know where the Big Brave Babe was. I guess, you know, it was probably just a kind of like one-on-one kind of thing. I don't know. And she just kind of stared at me, and then she walked off, and I was like, wait, you know, we could do other things, and then she was like, no, I don't want to do other things. And then she said something, dude, in my dreams, I guess the audio's always bad, because sometimes people be talking to me in my dreams, and I just see their lips moving. Sometimes I understand what they're saying, but I don't actually hear what they're saying. I think there's just some neurological problems in my brain that causes that. And then I was out there in the desert with Anal Eating Mummy God, and we were both wearing the black robes. He didn't have the red scarf on. He told me there's something happened, and he's not allowed to have the red scarf anymore, so I guess he got demoted recently or something. And he was wearing, his robe was like turning white as it was like talking to him, and he was like, Bobby, why won't you have sex with that woman? And I was like, because I didn't have a condom. And he's like, you said no to the condom. And I didn't have sex with her because I got nothing. I was like, I don't know. Why didn't I have sex with her? He's like, I can't tell you. And I was, what? I was like, I'm not you. I can't tell you why you didn't do something. And I was like, why are you asking me this then? I was like, what is the point of this? I was like, why are we in this fucking place? I fucking hate this place out there in that fucking desert temple, dude. It's fucking terrible. They could at least take you to the fucking ice cream shop if you're gonna fucking, if my dream's gonna be doing dreams. We'll be in the ice cream shop. Fucking terrible. Anyways, you're in this horrible fucking temple, with anal eating mummy god. And he keeps asking me why I didn't do anything, and it was like, I was like, I don't know what you want from me. And he was, why didn't you take the condom? And I don't know why I didn't take I didn't need it. I wasn't expecting to have sex later, okay? I didn't know Kayla and the Big Brave are gonna show up and want to have sex with me for no fucking reason. And he was like, well, maybe you should have had sex with him. And I was like, what does having sex with these women have to do with anything? And I was like, you realize how disgusting you people... And he was like, oh, here comes the self-righteous. Why do you people keep calling me self-righteous? And I got pissed at him, and he was... Everything that happened to you is what happened to us, is what he said. He said, we are forced to do these horrible things because... that is the rules. So this is the Memphis. I was like, do the Memphis belong in prison? Are they complete pieces of shit? Are they actually evil? That's why you kill them and eat their brains? Maybe this cycle needs to continue forever. Maybe they need to learn to quit being pieces of shit, and you people need to just learn to let shit go. He's, no, that's not what the problem is. He's like, you already said what the problem is a long time ago. And I was, what, religion? I was like, is it fucking religion? That stupid thing that needs to go the fuck away? And he's like, yes, it's religion. We are victims of our religion. You know, some people want it here forever. Other people are really tired of it. They really are. They're tired of the rules. They're tired of the pseudo integrity. And he went on a thing talking about how basically he was born in this insular society. He had life experiences where he joined the military. And he really lived life and had a lot of experiences, but he also killed a lot of people. And the only thing he ever regretted in his entire life when he was out there in the desert was remembering all the people he murdered. And he was miserable for it. And he's like, you said that people don't have to have a sorrowful soul to do good in the world, and you came along and did good in the world, and you didn't have a sorrowful soul, and we thought you had to be miserable in order to be good, and we had this back and forth about why the sorrowful soul, who has the sorrowful soul, why the sorrowful soul, and I guess he made some legitimate points that if you feel bad, you're willing to do good because you feel bad to some extent. But then I was like, well, then stop popping the LSD. He's like, we can't because we're miserable. And he was like, hey, then you come along and you just tell us you can do the right thing without being miserable because you just did the right thing when you were a kid. And he was like, and that was alien to us. And I guess pouring confessions, we had this big back and forth. Mind you, this is just my subconscious mind acting things out. I guess it's trying to reach me in a more Bobby form instead of a more metaphorical form because I can be stupid sometimes. And he was like, let me take you back to this. And then suddenly I was in my Papa John's car. I get that call from whoever the fuck was leading the trial against these people when the church was losing its tax-exempt status. And they were like, everything's wrapped up. Everything's whatever. But now the president of the church is claiming that he's a victim. And in that moment, I was sitting in the car, I started laughing. How could you be a fucking victim of your own religion you lead? And I was laughing my ass off. I was laughing my ass off about what happened to these people, especially the 6,000 baby rapes and the human trafficking. And they're like, well, they want to know if you'll agree that they are the victims of their own religion. And I said, no. You don't get to be a part of a shitty fucking religion and then scream that it's your fucking religion when you're a cult leader, you're a bastard, a manipulator, a controller, and I went on an entire thing about how antisocial behaviors from churches and how I can't stand fucking churches. They're the most disingenuous, lying, sexist shit on the... And I guess that's a self-righteous rant to some extent. I don't know. And he was... Adelina, you and your self-righteousness condemned a whole bunch of people who are actually the victims. And I was like, victims? I was like, Stu fucking murdered those women. I was like, don't fucking start with me. He murdered a kid. He belongs in fucking prison. And he was like, no, he doesn't, because he's a victim of the religion. That is what every church leader is a victim of. They're a victim of the religion, okay? You have the opportunity. You have a real opportunity to stop the religion. I was like, but then there are no bad guys that go to prison, so what the fuck is the point? The pedophiles and fucking killers are out there. They're not pedophiles. We're not pedophiles, Bobby. We are not those things, okay? We are not the things the religion makes us be. Okay, you need to separate what we have to do and what we can't not do. And he was like, we take a vow of fealty. We have integrity. These are all the rules. Okay, Blondie is part of the rules. If Blondie steals your glory, they're gonna shoot him in the head. They're gonna fucking execute him, and that's how that's gonna be, because those are the rules of the religion. And I was, fuck Blondie, then do it. And he was, no. And I was, you said people make mistakes when they're emotional. That when people make decisions when they're emotional, they're oftentimes the wrong decision. You are making mistakes. You are refusing to act because you are acting out of emotion. You want to stick it to fucking Stu, you want to stick it to Blondie, you want all these people to go to prison, you think every member of the church needs to be fucking dead. And I was like, they do. And they don't. If you get rid of the religion, they will stop their shit. And I was like, we got rid of the religion last time, and a bunch of those assholes turned up to Ackworth and tried to murder me because they're idiots. That's not gonna happen this time. I promise you, it's not just going to turn into a complete shit show. We can learn. And I was, you do know this is a dream, right? He was, why didn't you take that condom? And why didn't you have sex with that big girl? In, Lemon Hope's story, there's a door that's kind of a nagging feeling. These people knocking on it, and he can't open it. And I think this dream is just that dream. And maybe the truth is I'm simply not ready. Maybe I'll never be ready. And that's a terrifying thought to think for all the people being human trafficked and all the bad shit these people do at this church. But I start to think that, and I don't know when you know you're ready. Like, I remember a long time ago when I used to listen to The Universe, when things get really bad and really uncomfortable and really out of place. That's the universe telling you it's time to move on. And honestly, as comfortable as I've been down here, getting to do nothing all day and work through my psychological traumas and issues and all these things, I've actually just been miserable. Yeah. So I remember these things, and it's just failure after failure after failure, and me and Stu, or me and Blondie, or me and Officer Fred, or me and Gannon just going tit for tat back and forth like idiots. How stupid people fucking think, but these people are fucking retarded. Like, and they have terrorized me my entire fucking life. I mean, if I have one goal in life, I don't want to be terrorized. I think that's why I want them all dead. Is to make sure that can't happen. But I suppose it's whatever. But on the other end, I do recognize to some extent I am emotionally stunted. Like, didn't really have a real good environment, but I would argue I'm like emotionally stunted in the age of a 13-year-old, whereas these people have the fucking brains of a goddamn 2-year-old. Like, I don't know. Am I not ready? Or is it the fact that I think I'm not ready that makes me not ready? What does readiness look like? In our closing note, a long time ago, I remembered having this conversation with someone who claimed that just like I had the ability to analyze somebody's psychology, and I was really good at psychology, they claimed they could analyze the faults in somebody's personality. And after talking on and on and on and all the smart guy shit, this individual looked at me and said, "You're emotionless. You're like talking to a robot. You just repeat facts and science. You don't care about other people's feelings. You ignore all these things." And they said, "How could you ever possibly imagine winning if you don't use emotions?" And I was like, emotions cause people to fear and cower and hide because they're pathetic. And the person replied, "They don't do that. They get people to act. Martin Luther King felt a certain way. That's why he did something." And he's like, "You decided to not feel anything at all because you view it as vulnerability. You view it as weakness. And so you go around with compassion, but not sympathy or empathy. And your compassion is painful compassion where you hurt people to let them know like what they did was wrong." And I was like, sometimes that's the only way a motherfucker learns. And I was like, there's always a motherfucker trying to ice skate uphill, okay? Just fucking stupid, but yeah. He said, "You'll never